What up guys, it's a Total Wars Master here doing another Napoleon Total War video. Today, this is basically a follow-up to the corner camping and Janissary limitations video. Same players, basically same armies, but yeah, let's get into it. So I, on my flank, have 2 Voltigeurs, and in my middle I have 2 Voltigeurs. I have 2 Polish Legion and an Old Guard on my right. In my little middle, kind of going for this forest, I have a Swiss and Fusilier. I have the Brave and a Swiss going for this hill, and a Swiss, Polish, and Swiss going for this flank. I have a Chasseur going to hold with that flank. In the middle, I have a Chasseur and a Lancer, and to this hill, I have a Lancer and Chasseur. So right now, we can see I'm doing effectively a total advance right now. But we could see by the time my opponent begins to start moving, it really is too late already. I have secured the hill because, first of all, a major limitation of camels is they are slow. They are significantly slower than light cavalry, and they are still slower than heavy cavalry and medium cavalry. So that he will lose the race for this hill every time he tries to go for it. I try and send this Chasseur a Cheval unit to flank, but I get worried that he's going to try and target them. I move my men to get in position to fire. He has put these cavalry in the woods over here. What I should really be doing is trying to move up and get more and better shots. But I get a volley off, kills one, not really good. But what is good is I have secured all the high ground. I have secured this. I'm securing the central forest. I have secured the hills. I have secured this flank, which really puts me in an absolutely fantastic spot because of a major limitation of those camels is even if at the same time we both rush for this hill, my cavalry beats his there every single time. But to return to the Janissaries limitations videos, these men are difficult to use right now because they can't get in a good position to engage. Although it's not impossible for them to rush up here and engage or try to engage through one of these forests, but due to them getting significantly worse,
this building has fallen to the enemy.
In melee as they fatigue, it really is a major limitation. But we see he is securing this house over here. He charges his camels against my chasseurs a cheval fairly prematurely. If he would move them to flank and then charge them, I might not have heard that they're screaming and recalled them, but that's what I end up doing. I just recall them back. I'm in a decent position. There's no point in trying to waste cavalry. But I do want to briefly go over these buildings. These buildings of the houses are not very good in contrast to many other houses. You fire through the windows, but there's not a lot of windows, which really limits their usefulness other than just providing a bottleneck. However, this house here has a lot of firing platforms. It keeps a lot of men safe and secure. My opponent is moving up in the center, but I have no need to engage there. Right now, where I see he's weakest at is on this flank. So primarily what I start doing is I send my Old Guard over to here. I want them to be more focused in the middle so that their morale penalty applies to more troops.
This building has fallen to the enemy.
He takes this building over here. I send my chasseurs a cheval along with the Polish Legion out to here. And really right now I'm trying to think of what am I going to do, because right now I can't just move in and just shoot him because the woods will protect a large portion of his men and he has Janissaries to murder me if I try and do that on that flank. My Voltigeurs get some shots off, don't kill a whole lot, but this right here was a major mistake. What this did is this freed up me and my men to be able to move down to here and try and secure a strong flank here, which allows me to try and do a flanking maneuver against him and gives me a light infantry advantage to push him here. He retains his cavalry on this side because of my cavalry presence on this side, which goes back to my video about winning the cavalry fight. Having cavalry really means a lot. You see, as I move my men towards this flank over here and he moves to counter, I just pull back. I'm in a strong position to continue to this engagement, so I have no need to try and do less than wise fights. I continue moving my men to engage, or at least preparing them to engage. My chasseurs and chevalier are active, my Polish legion's winded. I have another lancer there. These men in the woods are hidden, in which I have my general behind. And really, I'm just retaining this strong position because I have very little need to advance. But what I am doing over here is I do want to try and take this building. I'm going to send my Polish Legion to do that. They are much more equipped for melee. He brings his camel gunners back over here. But what I'm going to try and do over here is I have the same number of line that he has if we include my old guard in there. But I do have an advantage in cavalry and lights. So what I need to do is I need to get an equal fighting platform over here. And what I want to do is I want to keep my lights on this side of the forest and move to engage. If he runs up to try and shoot my lights, I'll pull them back and let him get shot by my line. And along with my old guard, that will do awful damage. But really, we're going back to the limitation of camels, because I can move my chasseurs and cheval in fairly quickly. We see me move my infantry to do what I exactly said, move to better engage, use my advantages over here. I retain a lancer unit on top of this hill, which helps me retain this hill, along with a cavalry threat through here, which helps stop any Janissary charges. What I'm doing now is I'm going to move up, try and press my advantage. I have a chasseur, a cheval unit on his flank, and then being a mounted shooter cav will give me a good advantage. Really, if he got rid of these Janissaries, what he could do is replace them with more line. Just one line to try and be like over here and force my cavalry back would do quite a lot, or even just more cavalry. But he's just getting shot at by my lights. He's not really doing a lot about it, if anything, really. I once again get a volley in. I didn't want to take the risk of wanting to charge him while my lights were still delivering a volley. I fire a volley. Does some fairly good damage. And it's around right here. I do want it to be known. My opponent tells me that he's quitting. He says I spammed cavalry again after that last Grassy Flatlands video. And so I just tell him okay. I don't really agree because cavalry spam is, like, in my opinion, 7-8 units. 5 units to counter a melee build I believe is fairly normal, but that is what it is. I continue to push against his men over here, using my supremacy of fire on this flank, and I'm just going to keep wielding that advantage. I try and storm in for this house over here. We see that it's fairly close. It will let me select. Currently, I do have an advantage in manpower, but my men are tired, which really poses an issue.
Now they must strike.
I kill his general, which does very well for me. And this is why he's not moving to kill my shooter cav, or being my chasseurs or cheval or anything, because he's quit the game. Defeat wasn't ensured by the time I was ruling his flank. It was likely, but it was not the only outcome. But after quitting, it is definitely the only outcome. But I get rid of those camels. I try and get myself that whole cavalry advantage. This Nizam does not break, surprisingly. I'm able to break his men there. And now I'm just shooting him over here. I send in my old guard to take this building.
The men are fatigued, sir.
I send in
and
my
must
cavalry.
rest a while.
I believe that's my Polish Legion, which is exhausted. But they have broken because of that too. But I charge in my Lancers. The morale penalty of fighting with cavalry along with the charge just absolutely destroys these men.
We have taken the building, sir.
I have not had to advance any of these men here. I'm just shooting them from the back using my cavalry advantage and the morale penalty from a dead general. I send my Swiss foot against this Nizam credit. A lot more men. Oh, his men are also fresh while mine are winded. But now I just continue to send in my cavalry.
A glorious victory, sir, is soon to be
And the
yours.
attack and rear penalty and all that just does tragedy to the enemy morale. Attacked in rear, fighting cavalry. My chasseurs or cheval have gotten their second chevron. I am now advancing my cavalry in the center, getting more lancers. The lancers got a chevron there. My chasseurs or cheval hit the rear here. And that's just
Our
totally
men are
frozen.
running, sir.
I'm using these lancers over here to attack the routing men. But despite my opponent quitting, I want to reiterate a couple things and come back to some critical things. Using camels only to try and secure critical points. Say this hill, this forest, this forest. You come to some major issues. They are just so much slower that it really does limit what you can do. Getting your flank turned because you don't have enough infantry because you've invested so much in Janissaries, it means you have to be aggressive to get them into a position where they can be used effectively. If you can't do that, don't bring them. Not all maps are good for them. Not all strategies are good for them. You really have to reflect upon how you did, what went wrong, what went right, try and get that balance. For me, in my opinion, I think Janissaries excel at 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4s. I think 1v1s, they're a lot harder to work with on most maps. But I mean, like Waterloo, if you're an attacker, Janissaries are a staple of some of the best strategies to try and take those houses from enemy elites. But it just didn't work here. I want to know your guys' opinions down below. But yeah, that's it. Everything, chain routes there. I lost a cavalry unit, Polish Legion, and that's primarily it. But now we see he killed around 350 of my men. I killed around 1,100 of his. He deployed more than me again. My chasseurs or cheval, 202 kills. Old Guard 164, Lancers 159. I mean, for large unit size, that's exactly what you want. That's the money right there. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. That's much more looking at the Ottomans. What goes good, what goes wrong. I want to know your opinions down below. Total Wars Master, out.